Welcome to Small Arm Solutions. Now, there's no need to go out and check and see if the dead have risen from the grave. There's no need to go check the rivers and the oceans of being blood. And, I do have a 1911 in my hand. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Springfield Armory 1911 EMP Concealed Carry Contour Pistol. Now, again, this is 1911. It is in my hand. I'm going to try to give you the best review I can possibly out of it. So we're just going to start from the beginning. Now, the 9mm Lugers, the 1911 pistols are not very, they're common. There are several companies that make them. You got Recoil, who's coming out with them right now. You'll be seeing those pretty soon coming from them. Colt has them. But a little interesting tidbit about Colt was when General Keyes took the helm, that must have been in the really early 90s, he had told everybody at Colt that as long as he was at Colt, there was never going to be a 9mm pistol manufacturer out there. He was an avid 1911 guy, but he was a 45 auto guy. So all of a sudden, all the 9mm pistols completely disappeared from the product line of Colt, Colt's manufacturing, Colt Defense. Now that wasn't changed up until recently. After General Keyes' departure, Colt has now introduced several 9mm pistols in the 1911 format. But this one here, Springfield Armory is very well known for their 1911 pistols. They make very good, very high quality pistols. The fit and finish are excellent. They do come out with a lot of new models as well. This one just came out at SHOT Show. This is designed as a custom carry or a concealed carry gun. You can see this is the custom carry contour. You can see how this has been rounded off here. This is to help it so it won't get shagged on any kind of clothing or anything along those lines. That was the major difference. The other difference was the material itself. This is an aluminum slide. That's another place where you get your lightweight from. Now this thing is only 30.5 ounces heavy. It's very light for a 1911. It's got some other neat features we're going to go over too as well. The grip contour on it is excellent. You have sort of a snake scale type, or it's a rather your hand's not going to slip off of it. You have it on the front of the front strap. You have it a little bit on your back strap there. You do have a beaver tail grip safety, which, as you can see, I was firing a government 1911 yesterday, and I had the nice bite from the original grip safety on the government 1911. For anybody who wants to shoot a 1911 on a continuous basis and prevent this from happening, you definitely want to get a beaver tail type grip safety. It's definitely necessary. You do have a stainless steel slide. You have a Novak type rear sight on the back, and you also have a fiber optic on the front. This is an orange fiber optic. Now, I definitely will say when you get out into the sun, that thing's nice and bright. It's excellent. Now, I'm sure that you could probably get additional colors if you want, red, green, or whatever you would like. So you could definitely do that. You have a very nice ambidextrous safety, very easy to get on both sides. You have a standard magazine well release. The magazine is a 9-round capacity, single stack. These magazines were flawless. I probably put 200 or 300 rounds out of this pistol so far, and I've never had any feeding malfunctions whatsoever in several different types of ammunition. One of my favorite types of carry ammunition for a 9mm is the Federal HST, and it fed those without a problem whatsoever. I also put a few of the RIP rounds through here too, and it didn't have any problems with that at all. The 9mm pistols tend to be a little bit more reliable with hollow point type ammunition in 1911s than the 45s do. It just happens to be because of the shape of the ogive. It seems to be a little bit more conducive with feeding in these pistols. Now the barrel itself is a 4-inch stainless steel barrel, and it is a bull barrel. It is a very heavy barrel. This pistol does not have a separate barrel bushing like a 1911. It's actually part of the barrel itself, and you have a dual recoil spring mechanism in here as well, which we're going to take a look at when we take it apart. The trigger itself is not bad at all. I'd probably say it's around 6 pounds. About 6 pounds. It's definitely not going to go off accidentally. And we're going to show you how this thing comes apart. Again, for a 30.5 ounce gun, you're looking at about 5.5 inches tall, and you're probably looking at about 7.5 inches in length. We're going to show you how this thing comes apart. Now, this is pretty tricky to take apart because you don't have the barrel bushing. To To remove the recoil spring assembly, you got to do a little bit of MacGyver work, which we'll show you here. So first of all, again, we're going to ensure that it's safe, it's empty. We have to go back to this assembly notch, pop that right out. Slide comes right off. Now you take a look at this frame. This frame is machined beautifully. No sharp edges. Very, very clean. No tool marks. They definitely have to say they did an excellent job on manufacturing. Now is where it gets a little bit complicated for removal of the recoil spring assembly. That's going to require some tools. One is a paper clip. And the second is going to be a pair of wire snippers. So what you have to do is you have to push the recoil spring forward until you see this exposed pinhole. You put that through. So we're going to basically cut this wire. We're going to put that through. And as you can see, that holds the spring open, the open position. So now I can just lift that right out. Now I don't know if Springfield has a slave tool or not for this. I just grabbed a paper clip and just made a little bit of a slave punch. And now we push the barrel out just like you would any other 1911. And as you can see, that is a very heavy bull barrel for a 9mm. So the accuracy was good. I mean, it was I wasn't putting them all through the same hole, but there's probably within a 2-inch group. Now, as a carry gun, this is missing something that I think that is very, very, very important. There is no firing pin block safety on here. Now, what the firing pin block safety was, if you referred to the Colt 70 series, Colt 80 series. The Colt 80 series, they actually put a spring-loaded firing pin block, which was a plunger. And when that block was engaged, the firing pin could not move forward. And we can take a look at that. You can notice I'm using a Glock pen for my pointer, just saying. Okay, if you notice here, you have a spring-loaded plunger. This is a Colt N1991A1, the only 1911 that I own at the moment. And what happens is when you go to push that firing pin forward, it cannot go forward unless that firing pin plunger is depressed. Now, if you notice on the frames, Colt frame here, if you notice right here, you have the firing pin block safety, the hammer. Now, when you pull that trigger back all the way to the rear, that lifts up. That will only go up when the trigger is pulled all the way to the rear. So right at the moment you're getting your rearmost position for your trigger pull, it lifts upward, pushes upward on the firing pin block, so when the hammer strikes the firing pin, it's able to penetrate and go through. Where if you notice on this one, we don't have that. Well, what happens is the firing pin can move forward without any interruption. Now, the problem with that is it's not, in my opinion, a safe carry gun. And the reason I say that is because in my time as a forensic scientist, I had actually had a case where somebody had said that they dropped a gun and it went off when the police actually felt that they thought it was an attempted murder. Somebody shot at the police officer. So when I got the gun, the gentleman made a claim that it dropped when he went off. So I had to try to duplicate that. So what I did was I grabbed a cartridge, 45 caliber cartridge, popped the bullet out, just put the primer in, loaded the primed empty into the chamber, and started dropping. Well, I found out very quickly that from about 4.5 to 5 feet, dropping it on the muzzle, there was enough energy to set that firing pin to set that cartridge off. So I was able to repeat that multiple times, I don't know 5 or 6, 7 times, and it was consistent. Generally, it only happened when I dropped it on the muzzle. On the sides, it didn't happen. It did happen once or twice, dropping it on the back. But come to find, the guy was telling the truth. He did drop the pistol, and it did go off. So ever since that particular case that I worked on, I've been very weary of carrying 1911s without firing pin safeties. Now, there are people out there, 1911 guys, which I'm not one of, as you well know, but there are 1911 guys out there who believe that if you put a firing pin safety in there, that it has some kind of a negative effect on your trigger. Now, comparing the triggers between these two pistols, because the trigger that I have in this pistol is not a match grade trigger by no means, I don't see much of a difference. Then again, I'm used to combat guns. I'm not used to match grade or race guns. So, I guess I don't feel the difference. That is the only really complaint that I found about this pistol was I did not like that it was being, it's a custom carry. It's designed for carrying concealed, but did not have a firing pin safety. Now, this is from my experience as a forensic firearms examiner. From cases that I've seen this with other guns as well. But I've seen it a couple times with the 1911, and I tried it with several different pistols too. I had the suspect pistol. I had a regular GI 1911. I was able to duplicate this with several different guns, so I know it wasn't unique to that particular individual's pistol. So that's my biggest critique is the lack of the firing pin safety for a concealed carry gun. Now you also notice on the really nice polished feed ramp on here, you also have a fully supported cartridge base in here, which is also nice. And you also see this little bit of a notch right here. What that little notch does is when this thing's loaded, you'll see some brass in there, so it'll verify that it's actually loaded. So it's everything that was built into it. So now we're going to go ahead and we're going to reassemble this thing. Make sure your link is down. Now we got to mess around with this neat little firing pin, this neat little recoil spring assembly again. We're going to drop that in place. We're going to push that forward. We're going to let that drop out. Now it dropped right back into place. Nice and easy. It's not easy to get that little sucker in there, but it goes back together pretty easy. With that link down, I'm going to slide it onto the frame until you can see that link. Going to insert the slide stop all the way to the rear, line up the notch. So all there is to it. And like a typical 1911, in case there's somebody out there who's not familiar with them, you have a couple different safeties on here. First and foremost is your grip safety. If you do not have the grip safety pressed, it won't fire. Push inward, it will go. That is one safety. And the next is your manual safety. So it won't fire unless it's dropped down. Now there is another one. It's not the safest thing to do, but there are guys who will do it. They will basically pull the trigger and it will go down to the quarter cock position. So then when the gun will be drawn, you would cock the hammer back and fire. Now that is not the safest thing in the world to do, because if that was to slip, not only is the gun going to discharge, the slide's going to come back and do a lot of damage to your thumb. So if you're going to carry this pistol, you're best to have it in a cocked and locked position with the safety engaged. I definitely wouldn't recommend carrying this thing with the with the hammer forward, just because I don't think it's very safe for you to be able to do that. You practice enough of it, I guess you're okay. But the best way to carry that's going to be in the cocked and locked position. Now, some people will say, "Well, I carry without a round in the chamber." That's useless. Carrying an unloaded gun is useless. By the time that you have to draw that gun and load it, it's probably going to be too late. So I definitely would never. I've never carried an unloaded firearm. It just doesn't make sense. So whatever way that you're particularly you're accustomed to. But I will say, the pistol shot well, and because of the beaver tail on there, that did not happen from this pistol. This happened from another pistol that I was test firing. Reliability was there, accuracy was there at 15 yards. It put him wherever it needed to go. The bullets went. So then what we're going to do now is we're going to take this pistol out to the range and we're going to put a few rounds through it. Springfield Armory did a beautiful job on this pistol. You know, I have to say, just from a, the worksman standpoint, the grips are really, really nice. They're certainly much better than my wooden grips I have on this standard Colt here. If you're looking for a 9mm compact pistol for carrying, and you're looking for a 1911, I would definitely consider this one. This is one of the nicest compact ones that I have seen. The lightweight, not too big, not too small. It's just about right. The 9mm with a good ammunition, such as the Federal HST, you have an excellent round, and it's as reliable as can be. I thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please click like, please subscribe, and even better, share.